Hello everybody out there in the bookverse, it's Stephanie, and today I want to do just a nice chill video. I'm sitting on the floor in my bedroom and I am just going to do a focused book review on Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. So if you're new to my channel, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you would like to see more from me, definitely hit the subscribe button down below and the bell icon so you'll be notified when I post new content. But let's jump into the review because I really want to talk about this book. I thoroughly enjoyed my time reading Assassin's Apprentice. I really didn't know what to expect going into it because I had heard that it was this classic high fantasy. It's one of the greats of classics. I was expecting it to be along the lines of like maybe Lord of the Rings-esque or something like that. I didn't expect it to be as accessible as it was. I thought it was a lot easier to read than I was expecting going into it. I was thinking it'd be super difficult to understand the world. I thought that the wording would take me a while to get used to, but honestly, it was great. I absolutely loved it. So this book had a very fairy tale-esque told story feel to it, which makes sense because it is told from the point of view of the main character. His older self is telling this story to us, and it is essentially a coming-of-age story of this young boy. His name is Fitz, and he is the illegitimate son of the crown prince of this kingdom. It is a high fantasy world. There is a magic system in it, and Fitz is pretty much just navigating this world, learning about himself, growing up in this court setting where his father was the crown prince and people know who he is. They know that he's a bastard, and he's dealing with the different things that come along with that, as he's also dealing with being a child and just growing up and feeling lonely and all these things that he's going through in his life. I thought it was so well done. It gave me some very Name of the Wind vibes, just probably because it is told from the point of view of this child and it's a coming of age story. It's definitely easier to read than The Name of the Wind. I think The Name of the Wind is a little more complicated. It has some more flowery writing than this does. This is definitely easier than that, but it kind of gives me those same vibes. I really enjoyed the way it was told. I enjoyed the first person narrative from the point of view of the main character as he's older, because I feel like we really get to know Fitz. You get to know what he's thinking, what he's feeling, what's going through his head during all these different times, and you get to know him from when he's just a little kid, 6 years old, all the way growing up through his teenage years. And I loved it. I felt like I fell in love with Fitz, and I was just so invested in his life, and even his little day-to-day things that he was doing became really important to me, and I just wanted to know everything about his life and what was going on with him. And I thought that was a very good way for her to narrate this story, because you just fell in love with the main character so much. And you see Fitz grow so much as well. He has an amazing story arc. There's so much development, which makes sense because it starts when he's 6 and ends when he's a teenager. So there's tons of development that happens in those years anyways, but you just get to see all of it happen, and it is so well done. I just can't say enough how well done his story arc is, and you see all of this development happening throughout the book from his point of view, and it was great. I absolutely loved that aspect of the story. And I think it was easier to fall in love with him as a main character because it was told so much more simply than a lot of high fantasy that I'm used to. It was a very easy world to get to know. It felt almost natural getting to know this world, getting to know all the characters in it. And I didn't feel overwhelmed like I do a lot of times in high fantasy. So I thought that was a very good thing. It was something I was not expecting going into this. And it might have to do with our main character being a 6-year-old. So he doesn't complicate things as much, and he doesn't understand things as much at the beginning either. So we're kind of learning it along with him. I never felt bored reading this book. I know some people complain that it was a little bit slow, but I was just loving living Fitz's life with him. I thought the plot was great. I loved the twist that happened in it. I thought the ending was wonderful. There was, of course, things that I didn't love, and there were characters that I hated, but they were great villains. I think that you love to hate them, and there were people that you just wanted to fail so much in every little thing that they did because they were just such terrible people. And I just loved it. Some things that I necessarily did not love about this though, I think there definitely should have been more Fool in this. If you have read this book and you know the Fool, oh my gosh, he needs more time. We need more time with the Fool. And I hear that you get more time with him in the other books, that it comes more as we go. So I'm definitely looking forward to continuing this trilogy because I love him. He's such a fascinating character. Going into this, I expected it to be an adult high fantasy book. Is it? I don't know. If you know, please let me know. I felt like it might be a little more on the YA side, but maybe that's just because this is the first story and it's told from a child's perspective that it felt more YA, but I definitely did not feel the adult high fantasy feel of it, but maybe that's just me. Let me know down in the comments if you do know, but going into it, it's not quite as adult as I was expecting. Also, I don't really think the magic system is explained well enough. I like my magic systems to be explained a lot. I like to really understand them. I like to know the ins and outs, and I just feel like we did not get enough of it in this book. It may potentially be explained more later in this series as Fitz gets older and understands the magic system more, but I really had only a vague understanding of this magic system and what's going on in it in this book, and that is something that is kind of important to me in high fantasy books. Is the magic system is essential for me to really love the whole book series as a whole. I'm not judging it too much in this one because I do feel like the rest of the series will help to flesh it out and we'll understand it better, but I just didn't think it was extremely well explained in this particular book. Overall though, I definitely love this book. I think that this is going to be one of my favorite series. I know that it has a lot of books in this world, but they kind of come in trilogies. So this is the Farseer trilogy. I think this is the one they recommend you starting with. It's a great, I think, introduction to high fantasy for sure. If you haven't read a lot of high fantasy and you'd like to kind of ease your way into it, I think this is a really good starting point because it's not super complicated. It doesn't have a billion gajillion characters that you have to get to know right away, and it doesn't just throw things at you and you feel overwhelmed and you just don't think you can keep going like a lot of high fantasy does. If you're not used to it and you're not into that, that's really hard. But this one, it kind of eases you in, you know, it kind of gets you used to it and you learn it along with Fitz. So this is a great intro to high fantasy. I absolutely loved it. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars just because it didn't have quite the wow punch that I was expecting. Probably I'd give it a 4.5 stars, but you know, Goodreads does not give us that option. So it is great. I am so looking forward to moving on to the next book in the series, which I ordered on Amazon and just got an alert today that it got canceled, that order did. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get the next book in this series. I might have to go find it on Book Depository. I don't know. This quarantine thing is definitely hurting my ability to buy books, but it's worth it as long as, you know, we don't get the COVID. So let me know down in the comments if you've read this book, what you think of it. If it's a book that you are interested in reading, let me know your thoughts down below. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.